Argentina, the second largest country in South America, is like 100 little countries inside of one. Among the regions, you'll find a breathtaking, bizarre combination of different landscapes and microclimates. One week you might be scaling mountains in Patagonia, and the next you could be visiting subtropical Iguazu Falls. This mixture of unique regions creates a culinary environment that Argentines are fiercely proud of.
Hi everyone, we are recording this for Didactics of Social Studies, Task 2. This PowerPoint presentation was made collaboratively by Marco Ospina, that's me, Lady Cuartas, Andres Quintero, Julie Carreño, and Natalie Vidal. This PowerPoint presentation is going to be used as a didactic resource for teaching a class to third graders. Hey kids, good morning. Today we're going to learn about a very nice country in South America. This country is called Argentina. It's located in the very south of the South American continent. Actually, it's south of Bolivia and Paraguay. Here you can see it on the map. So it's at the southernmost tip of the continent. This country is divided into 23 provinces. The flag of Argentina is basically 3 stripes: blue, white with the sun in the middle, and blue again. There you can see the coat of arms and the different provinces. The capital of this country is called Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is one of the most important capital cities in the world. Therefore, it attracts lots of tourists every year. Buenos Aires is a very cosmopolitan city with a very active cultural life. This city proposes many activities, walks and outings. You can visit parks and very famous neighborhoods and squares. One of the most important barrios or neighborhoods is this one called La Boca. Here in La Boca, there is a very famous street called El Caminito, which is a pedestrian promenade where you can breathe and dance tango. You can enjoy a collection of different small streets with lots of cultural activities going on. It's like a museum in the open air. Well, in this other picture, we have a cemetery. It's called the Recoleta Cemetery. But is there a reason to visit a cemetery? Well, about this one, not just one reason. There are many reasons. To begin with, it's one of the most important cemeteries in the world, with white streets adorned by impressive statues and marble sarcophagi. This cemetery is like a work of art. It's an open-air museum. About some of the important landmarks in the city. Here on the right, we see the Floralis Generica, which is a stainless steel giant flower of more than 20 meters high, which is in the middle of a lake, attracting lots of visitors. In this picture in the middle, we can see the obelisk of Buenos Aires, and here on the right, we have a very interesting cultural center called the Usina del Arte. Now, as for the typical fauna of this country, on this slide we can see pumas and jaguars, and as for its sea life, the famous southern right whale. We have an alligator. This is called a jacare, and the Ray Americana, which is kind of an ostrich. Some more Argentine typical fauna. As we can see here, different felines like pumas, jaguars, the ocelot, and the condor is also from Argentina. There are llamas and this kind of fish called dorados, which is a type of salmon, also called piraju. So Argentina's fauna is also very diverse and abundant. In the northern regions, you can find several species of monkeys, jaguars, pumas, ocelots, and others. Among the birds, they have flamingos and hummingbirds. In the pampas, there are foxes and armadillos, among other animals. The cold Andean region is the habitat for llamas, condors, and other native species of that area. Fish abound in the lakes and coastal areas. Now, as for the Argentine typical flora, look, Argentine flora is also very varied due to the diverse climatic conditions of the topography of the regions of this country. In the northeast area, there are tropical plants. In the pampas, the pastures and herbs grow. There are different varieties of trees such as eucalyptus, sycamore, and acacias. Cactus and other trees in the desert areas predominate in the arid regions of the Andes. Now, as for Argentine typical flora, here we have the famous ceibo flower, which is Argentina's national flower, and different other native plants of this country. Very exotic kinds of vegetation. Now, Argentinian typical food. Well, look at this delicious pieces of food. For example, locro, which is a heavy stew of potatoes, corn, and different types of meats. Alfajores, which is a paste made of caramelized condensed milk, which is kind of a biscuit, a very traditional biscuit there. Also, you know, like Argentinians are meat lovers, so they hold lots of barbecues, which they call asados. It's the country's staple dish, and there is a variety of asado called vacío steak or bavette steak, which is this vacío steak is like a special cut of meat, and it can be enjoyed with chimichurri sauce. As for the Argentinian hydrography, it is considered one of the most diverse in South America, since it has a wide variety of rivers, lakes, lagoons, groundwater, and even ice fields. The location of this country allows you to find different types of rivers, ranging from the most abundant to other ones that are shorter and more navigable. On the pictures we can see the River Plate Basin, the Paraná Delta, and the Yacyretá Dam, which is a hydroelectric power station in the Paraná River. And also, this country enjoys beautiful lagoons, ice fields, and lots of groundwater. Now, let's talk a little bit about Argentinian culture. There are typical games. It says here it's normally celebrated in Buenos Aires in the Mataderos neighborhood. I can show you a little bit about what goes on in this Mataderos fair. So here we go.
Carnivores rejoice. Mataderos is a neighborhood named after the butcher shops that historically lined its streets. Every weekend, the barrio hosts an artisanal folk fair called La Feria de Mataderos. Here you can find plenty of handmade cooking ingredients from herbs to balsamic and olive oils. And of course, it wouldn't be Argentina without plenty of cured meats and cheese wedges at your fingertips. You can also find chorizos sizzling on the parrilla, steamy tamales, fried empanadas, and locro, a heavy stick-to-your-ribs stew of potato, corn, and meats. Honey beers on tap are also a good choice to wash all of this down. There's a lot of great fried, doughy fair food like dulce de leche-filled cubanitos and churros. At the center of the feria, there's a stage for traditional indigenous and Creole performances that you can watch while you chow down. Feria de Mataderos has a relaxed flea market type feel, but the products and food are quality. All of the meats and leather products are testaments to the grim but delicious butcher shop origins of Mataderos.
Okay, so there are typical dances such as tango, The exact origins of tango, both the dance and the word itself, are lost in myth and unrecorded history. The generally accepted theory is that in the mid 1800s, the African slaves who had been brought to Argentina or their descendants began to influence the local culture, and the word tango may be straightforwardly African in origin, meaning closed place or reserved ground. Now, as for sports, football is the tradition and the customary sports of Argentina. Is the most popular sport in this country, is one that has the most federated players, and in turn it is also the most practiced by the male gender. According to the date, according to very specific data, every 9 out of 10 people like football and is sympathetic to a team. As for fairs, in Argentina, it's very common to organize open-air fairs, especially in its capital, Buenos Aires. Among them, we can find the following: the San Telmo Fair, which is a street fair held weekly and is one of the largest in South America. Also, there are common book fairs that are held at Parque Rivadavia every weekend. The capital is considered to have the largest number of bookstores by number of citizens. Well, now let's talk a little bit about gauchos, which is the Argentine type of cowboys.
Gauchos are very protective people. They look after the land, they look after their family, they look after cattle. Their culture and their tradition and their day-to-day life is very much accurate, and it's not a show for tourists. And it was just great getting to kind of have an insider's look as to why gaucho lifestyle is incredible, why the north of Argentina is so unique.
In many ways, the gauchos of the 19th century were pretty much like the cowboys who inhabited the western United States during the same period of time. They were horseback riders who moved around the pampas with just the essentials, so in a very nomadic way, often herding cattle. They wore ponchos rather than vests and wielded bolas instead of lassos, but the lifestyle was very similar. About the pampas. So pampa is the Quechua word for the grasslands or the extensive lowland plains of South America. That's basically in the northern part of Argentina, around the Buenos Aires area. And as a wrap up, well, kids, what do we know about Argentina now? Argentina comprises a diverse territory of mountains, highlands, grasslands, and plateaus. The Argentine industry is well served by the country's abundance of energy resources. By the late 20th century, the country was self-sufficient in fossil fuels and hydroelectric generation. Argentina is the 8th largest country in the world. It's the 2nd largest country in Latin America and the largest Spanish speaking in the region. The country has its roots in Spanish colonization of the region during the 16th century, and its ethnic population is made up of 97.2% European, quite influenced by Italians, and Mestizo, 2.4% Amerindian, and 0.4% African. So Argentina is a very nice country with a whole lot of different climates. It's like different countries in just one. Such a beautiful country. So I hope you have learned a little bit about this interesting South American country, and that's all for now. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.